Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of. I almost did raunchy reviews.
Hold on. I'm gonna take it. I feel like I never take it. I could
Go
probably
for it.
take it. Welcome back to Nearly 90's, everyone. Today we're on episode 11, I think. Is what
Absolutely.
this one will be. And today we're going to be talking about, is the MCU dead? Or more generally, Marvel movies. Are they dying off in popularity? Are they dying financially? We're going to be covering all of it.
Yes, and I think generally the first thing that we should ask ourselves is when did you lose interest in the Marvel Universe, MCU, I guess.
I think after, well, I want to say after Endgame, but after No Way Home probably is when I 100% dropped off.
That is fair. I would say I'm probably in the same. I'm in the same boat as you. I watched that movie, and then honestly, I think I might have watched a Moon Knight after that and WandaVision.
What WandaVision, was that after? Yeah, that was after. No,
Yeah, that was.
that was after Endgame. Yeah, I know it was after Infinity War because he dies.
Yeah,
But spoiler, I guess. Whatever. Fuck you.
heard. I like the
Yeah.
energy.
But yeah, no, I watched a good amount of the Disney Plus shows prior and a handful of the movies after, but it's at this point where it's now just become like oh cool, there's a new Marvel thing. Maybe I'll watch it. Sometimes I get through it, sometimes I don't, and now it's very gradually becoming to the point where I just don't give a fuck anymore when something new comes out. I didn't even see Black Panther in theaters.
No, I didn't either. I think I. Oh, like the original, the first one,
No, Wakanda Forever. Like
Wakanda Forever. Yeah, no, I didn't see
that
that.
got a ton of popularity in pop culture just because of Chadwick Boseman dying, obviously. But I didn't even it. Just completely went under my radar.
Yeah, no, I. It's not like I cared. Not that I didn't care about I guess the movies themselves, but here I can push myself away if I'm a little loud.
Well, I was gonna push myself a little closer because I'm a little low. I don't want to be clipping when I get excited or anything.
Right. But for the most part, I mean, I saw the first Black Panther movie, and I never thought. I mean, after seeing him in Endgame and all that stuff, I liked him, but it's never I was interested in a sequel if Chadwick Boseman was in it, and I mean, I didn't really care for any of the supporting cast was decent, but I didn't like them, I guess, as much as the main character in that, or the villain of that, which they killed off.
Yeah, I mean, I think the supporting cast carried it very, very well, surprisingly. But again, it wasn't enough to really sink me into it.
Right. I feel ya. But I mean, even with Moon Knight, I I hear from and I'm not a Moon Knight fan, so maybe I'm the wrong person to say this, but at least from what other people were saying, the Moon Knight could have been a lot better, or at least they could have done more stuff with maybe him being more crazy, which I thought they did it pretty solid. I didn't hate what they were doing. I guess I wish they would have not tried to cut away from the violence as much, even though it was a rated R show.
Yeah, if anything, Moon Knight's kind of a Batman, basically Marvel Batman in a way, as far as definitely not backstory wise, but definitely in the comics he's more brooding over the streets, beating up thugs very violently type character. They definitely didn't do any of that. They did very heavy into the Egyptian lore of his backstory, which again, it's weird because his backstory doesn't really fit any of the vibe of his everyday superheroing.
Right.
They don't do the Egyptian gods and all that shit on a typical Moon Knight story, or at least not in the comics, I don't think.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, with all that kind of being said, at least when I was watching that, Werewolf by Night, those shows, I never was oh yeah, I want to see where this goes next. I want to see a season 2. I was okay. I guess the main thing I'm trying to get at is I think the Marvel movies have become less special now for some reason. I'm still trying to figure out why.
I think it's just a lack of direction.
I think so.
It's just not building up to anything, and you could say that it was with the Jonathan Majors. I think that's what his name is, Jonathan Majors as Kang.
Kang.
With the whole multiverse Kang dynasty thing, they want that to be the next Infinity War, but it's such a weak foundation of just like salvaging unfinished trilogies and trying to make new characters that are even more and more obscure into
Right.
making them a more likable team that's not really working.
See, and I kind of wish they would go a different route. Maybe even just go into the realm of just more spin-offs, like not even connected with the MCU, and I think that could helm great results. Like imagine you see they release like a Hulk movie, like they're gonna do like a solo Hulk movie that's not involved with the universe, that like like Edward Norton is connected to,
Oh,
or
God,
something
no.
like, not Edward,
God, no.
but you get my point though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was a bad example. He first name that came to the
I
head.
don't know if we need Edward Norton back. I don't know if
We don't need him back, but I think something at least like maybe what DC was doing with the Joker, not in the same regards of making it dark, but like doing something where it's just a solo character. Like I think that could be cool. Maybe even like I think they were trying to do that with She-Hulk again too, but
Oh, yeah,
it didn't work. I think
I did manage to get through all of She-Hulk. Did you?
no, I didn't even start it.
The finale, I gotta say, that was probably the worst ending to any Marvel anything I've ever seen in my life.
Yuck.
Like, it got shit on pretty hard throughout the entire series. I didn't mind it. It was just like whatever as I was binging through it. I didn't watch it week by week. I watched it when it all came out. But the ending tries so hard to be a fourth wall break type joke because she breaks the fourth wall in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
But she does some like super way too meta. Is that what you call it? Like a meta thing to kind of break the fourth wall and talk about
Yeah.
shit like that. It goes way too meta and it doesn't stick the landing at all, where she's like on the Disney Plus home screen and then she goes and
Oh.
talks to the like Marvel executives.
See, but that's I get it because that's something she did in the comics. She broke the fourth wall. She was
Yeah.
like Deadpool, but she was not as excessive as Deadpool. Like she would talk to the audience, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, and it wasn't to that extent really at all to my knowledge. It was always just kind of like a haha wink to the audience in the
Right.
comics, not like a telling the audience to go fuck themselves like Deadpool or something like
Right?
that.
Yeah. So I think they probably went way too hard with that. And
Yeah, and it's just not that good. And bringing back the Abomination as underwhelmingly as possible, it was so long since we saw him in anything. Like I heard that he always tried to get written into a lot of movies to bring him back, and it just never happened. And then he comes back in just such a mediocre form in She-Hulk.
So I think I know what they should have been doing, though. All right, I think I might have got it. Hear me out. So I get that they're trying to set up their next big villain, but I don't think they actually set up their next main character.
I think they
Because technically, Iron Man was their lynch. That Iron Man started the universe, and Iron Man technically died as Thanos died too.
yeah.
So those are technically your two main characters. I feel like they didn't establish that, so you can't generally get anyone else going. Like if you establish that maybe Spider-Man's now the main character, because I feel like maybe that might be what's going on.
Yeah, I heard that they have wanted it to either be Spider-Man or Doctor Strange. I think at some point they mentioned wanting Captain Marvel, and that's not gonna happen.
It won't.
They wanted her to be such a bigger character right out the get-go in her first movie, and the overwhelming negative response of just her not being a likable character just made them rethink that.
Right, and then there was like even even like the actors didn't like Brie Larson.
No, she's just everything that I've seen about her on social media or anything like that. She's just so obnoxious.
Honestly. But so it does kind of raise the question, like, why? I guess they should have probably made Thor the main character then, because Thor was, I guess, the kind of last member.
I think that they wanted to do more with him, but then they made Thor: Love and Thunder. That was a big flop.
Yeah.
And now they don't know what to do with him anymore again. Because I don't know. And then at the same time, they're trying to build up like the young Avengers at the same time. That isn't really anything anyone wants or asked for.
I see, and I think this does go back to the realm of, we should just maybe do some solo stories out of the universe.
Yeah, don't focus so much on crossovers anymore if it's not going to lead to anything is the thing. Like, they need to have a meaning to them.
Right. So, I mean, maybe it's, I don't know, who do you think's at blame here? Who's at fault? Kevin Feige now?
No, I don't think you would be. I think it's just Disney, the way that Disney does things of let's milk this into oblivion for as much as we can get out of it. They do the same thing with Star Wars. Star Wars has an absurd amount of spin-offs in TV shows, animated and live action now, that all connect to each other. Some are good, I'll give them that. Like, obviously, you fucking throw like 20 new series out there, like, in 3 to 5 years. Some of them are going to be good. Obviously, some of them are going to be good, but there's a whole shitstorm of bad ones too.
Maybe they should go the Star Wars route. Like, you know how they took like years off between trilogies and all that?
But that wasn't Disney.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess Disney does not see that financially working out.
Disney, they break for no one. They really don't. Like, they're not going to not make money shilling it out. And, like, other than I'm trying to think, Mandalorian was decent. Boba Fett was really rocky. Bringing back the Clone Wars was cool. But, like, other stuff, like, I got pretty bored of the Bad Batch. There was Obi-Wan, decent but not necessary at all.
It could have just been a movie.
Yeah, just anything like that. But anyways, I'm getting sidetracked with Star Wars now. But I think it's dying off because they're milking it the same way as Star Wars without purpose or a guide. And the thing is, Star Wars already has I can't even think of the right adjective, just an enormous fan base built up over decades.
Yeah.
That, sure, like Marvel Comics does, but they don't have that kind of a huge following for characters like Captain Marvel or even Doctor Strange. Like, even though Doctor Strange is huge now, he hasn't been as iconic as Star Wars. You know what I mean? And a lot of people didn't even like Multiverse of Madness. I thought it was all right, but it wasn't huge to me.
I fell asleep, but maybe that was because I watched it when I was sick.
But you know what I mean, though. Like, sure, they built something up and made a multi-billion-dollar franchise with it, but it's not Star Wars. It hasn't been. The movie franchise has not been around for multiple decades. Well, I mean, actually, like, what, a decade and a half, maybe?
What was the first one? 79?
No, I'm talking about like MCU. That was 2008 or something. Iron Man, maybe.
I believe it was 2000.
So that's a little over 15, 16 years, something like that.
Yeah.
That they've been around, and sure, like, you built up something huge, but if you don't take a break kind of the same way that Star Wars did and then bring it back for nostalgia, I feel like it's just going to get old. And then at some point, it's going to have to fizzle out and die, and then come back a couple decades later for nostalgia.
I think we might be in the middle of it fizzling out and dying, because they might just need to be like, let's take a breather. Let's take a couple years, get a game plan, a solid game plan, like they had before. Because, like, I mean, let's be honest, they were. At least the first 2-3 phases of Marvel, they were setting up everything. Everything was getting set up from the get-go, and you can kind of even see that in the first Iron Man movie. Like, Jon Favreau, the director, was like, yeah, there might even be some stuff going on behind the scenes at S.H.I.E.L.D., like even hinting at that S.H.I.E.L.D. is taken over by Hydra. So, like, that's real cool stuff that I don't know is getting subtly set up anymore.
Well, even then, I think especially when Thanos showed up, everything that even if it wasn't super relevant to the greater whole of like the Marvel movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy being as obscure as they are, and Doctor Strange and Black Panther not being A-list superheroes before their movies, all of their movies had something to do with setting up for Thanos. Like everything,
Right.
every single movie, even if it wasn't like that huge of a movie, if it seemed like what's the point of this movie, there was always like a little nugget hidden in there of like they need this for Infinity War.
Exactly.
And now it's just like we don't need Doctor Strange traveling through the multiverse. We didn't. I mean, as much as I love No Way Home, it's not like it needed to be a movie.
No.
And nothing that they make anymore serves a grander purpose.
Right. Which also begs the question: how are they going to do Secret War without like the main Marvel? I mean, you can do it, but it's just going to be weird.
Is it going to be called Secret Wars? I can't remember. Or wasn't it just called the Kang Dynasty? Or is it like a two-parter or something?
I don't know. But
it's probably not even going to be called any of that anymore because even though those charges got dropped for Jonathan Majors, I don't know if they want him back because Hollywood and people are stupid like that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely like, you know what I think the problem is?
What?
We don't got a big CGI villain, man. That's what it is. We need a giant, bald-headed...
They could have kept MODOK alive.
No, we don't need that.
Okay, I watched Quantumanium. I actually did watch that all the way through. I went to theaters to see it, too. I was curious how Jonathan Majors would be as Kang, and to be honest, just kind of underwhelming, if I'm being honest. MODOK... I thought he was funny, and I 100% can understand the really passionate response that people had saying this is the worst portrayal of any comic character ever, as MODOK is obviously nothing of his source material. It's just spoilers, but who gives a shit? He was literally just Yellow Jacket from the first movie who, like, when he shrunk down to the quantum realm, whatever, his fucking, like, proportions got all fucked up, and then he's just a giant bald-headed CGI man as MODOK, and he's just a grumpy fucking head. And, like, sure, MODOK is a grumpy head, but he's a grumpy head with backstory.
Right.
Which, it's none of it's there. The CGI is bad for it, but honestly... I turned my brain off to giving a shit about it about 20 minutes into the movie when I realized it wasn't going to be that great. And I just got a laugh out of it in the end. But people have the right to be pissed off of a bad adaptation of not respecting source material.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I mean, you know what I also have problems with? I have problems with them also trying to introduce Daredevil back into the universe and not saying that is... Well, I don't even know if they're like calling his series is still canon, right?
I think to a certain extent it could be canon. Once it starts to cross into Defenders, I think it starts to get pretty muddled with their shows, and I don't think they want to make their shows canon. Because holy shit, like, what is it? So Daredevil, almost all of Daredevil is pretty solid, pretty damn solid show. Jessica Jones is almost all pretty damn solid.
But you need to watch Defenders to know what happens to Daredevil.
And Elektra, yeah. But Luke Cage starts out good, then turns into dog shit, sadly. Iron Fist just is dog shit.
It is dog shit.
It is, oh my God.
I started watching, I was like, what is this?
It's so bad. Iron Fist is probably one of the worst things that they've made.
Yeah.
And then who even fucking knows? They're never making shit like Cloak and Dagger, like Runaways, canon.
No.
Runaways wasn't bad. Cloak and Dagger was all right, too.
Were they? I didn't really get into
They were all right. The Hulu didn't try to do anything too absurd. Like, they picked characters that weren't too crazy to adapt.
Right.
Although I don't think Cloak and Dagger are, like, early 20s type characters often in the comics. I think it was supposed to be like them at a young age getting to know each other, and then they're supposed to grow up into the more iconic characters, which I didn't mind it, but
okay. Yeah, I don't know, because like that's like I don't want to see Born Again, like Daredevil Born Again, because they already did the Born Again storyline.
Yeah, did they say that that's what they're gonna do? Is Born Again?
It's called Daredevil Born Again.
He's born again and again.
And again. So, which, like, I don't want them to do that. And Also, it kind of brings me up to like I hate his costume. Have you seen his costume?
Isn't it just like more saturated red?
It's
Like
more
it's just,
it's just like more red.
that's just okay. That's
And
just a thing now. That's a thing that started with. Gosh, I'm trying to remember what started to make that. I kind of think DC made that more popular than Marvel, if anything. Of let's just make it almost verbatim the comic looking like absurdity of like the bright colors and all that, but then just add a little bit of like modern looking. Hello.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. We're live.
We're still
not
good.
we're not dead. Okay. I thought the recording stopped. But they take like the iconic, I can't think of the words. The iconic costume and like the bright colors and all that. They just make it that, but then they add just a tiny bit of modern costume design into it to make it a little bit realistic, but in the end it's still very comic book goofy and live action.
Yeah, and I don't know if it'll probably look better on screen, but then again, I also see that they have motion tracking dots on him. They have motion tracking dots on Daredevil. All right.
Okay, they already did
Why?
CG Daredevil though.
All right,
He was in She-Hulk. He was in She-Hulk for a little bit. Did you know that?
He was CG.
There were very like heavy acrobatic moments where he's like doing flips and shit on her where they use CG.
But you don't need tracking dots on a costume for that. You do tracking dots when when you're going to be tracking or adding something onto the suit, which means that they're going to be digitally fucking up this costume. So as good as it could be, just like the Homecoming costume, just like any of those other costumes that Marvel has completely fucked, it just annoys me.
That's just okay. That's just
Like,
a
why
thing.
add the CGI to such a beautiful costume?
No, I can agree with that. I think that's just. I mean, Marvel's like the biggest, not victim. Holy shit! Don't call them the victim. They're definitely the biggest culprit in that. But that is far more than just a superhero thing right now. Where I mean, you could talk about bad CGI for a while. Where it's, why bother with all the costume design and hiring all these people for it? We can hire a few people sitting at a desk with a fucking absurd crunch time to just make it look all right and call it a day.
Right. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense financially, but it
I
doesn't.
guess.
It doesn't look like, you know what I mean. Like, I wonder, do they even really look at the backlash, the people involved with those decisions? Do they really even bat an eye to it? I don't imagine that they do.
Probably not,
They
honestly.
probably just look at the sales and they're like, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, they look at the profit and they're like, okay, that worked.
Yeah, but I do think that does bring up a good question, though, is like, then why even hire a costume designer if it's just going to be a completely, why don't you just hire a concept artist and then a CGI artist to
Well, I
do
mean,
that and then do a motion capture suit like they did for Green Lantern?
Oh, God, no. Yeah, but they still hire costume designers. It's just only to a certain extent because they're like, oh,
I might be harking on them a little
Yeah.
bit too much because, all right, the Avenger costumes and Endgame looked pretty good.
they look good at times.
Yeah. That's fair. I got a little too aggressive there talking about CGI, didn't I?
No, you're okay. It's pretty damn bad at times these days.
Yeah, wasn't what was Black Widow? Didn't that have like some horrid CGI?
There's one scene that everyone points out in that where it's like her sister, played by Florence Poe, where she stabs at something trying to like sacrifice herself. It blows up and she just like reels back it really badly. Like, I can't remember if it was like maybe just like a bad blue screening or something like that, but it looks bad and I think it got nominated for something for like visual effects, so that's why everyone was like, "Holy shit!"
Oh no.
No, but I'm surprised we didn't even talk about the Marvels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, but what is there to talk about?
I know.
They're not good. I didn't watch the what was it, Ms. Marvel, the show?
I watched Miss Marvel the show. It was pretty damn boring. The Marvels, from what I've gathered, Miss Marvel is actually the most entertaining character in it, from what I've heard of reviews. Because go figure, Brie Larson is not a likable character in it.
Yeah.
She never is in most of the movies. It's just common knowledge at this point that she's pretty hated whenever she shows up on screen as her character. But it got bad reviews, and I think it just tanked financially. Like, I don't know if the numbers are right, but I saw something about like losing 200 million box office.
Jesus. Wow. Hey, I mean, maybe they can get back. Maybe they can get back at that. Maybe they can.
I don't know. They also, I think they did the whole like girl power marketing type thing where it doesn't work as well as you'd think. I think it has to be done right.
See, I think I feel like they think girls watch these movies more than they think.
That is true. Like the amount of women that probably go to see those movies is very much in the minority compared to the male audience. So what's not to say what's the point? Like, obviously it's good that there's female heroes.
Yeah, we don't want them to be just like sex objects.
No, I mean, we don't have to make them Megan Fox and Transformers, but
yeah. Or what was that character? Psylocke and
oh yeah, the
X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah. She wasn't there for much other than to be a looker.
To look good.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally, is there any other way that they could get themselves out of this rut other than to kind of just kind of back away?
The thing is, like, if you back away, what are you? Because are you like wrapping up your trilogies, or are you?
Yeah, I guess.
Or are you just like done? Is the thing, which I don't even know. Like, have they made new trilogies recently or anything? Because I don't want, nor do I know if they're gonna make a Captain Marvel 3. They did only 2 Doctor Stranges. Seems like they want to like make a whole new Spider-Man trilogy now.
Yeah,
which I'm down for because I kind of like the soft reset button on his.
I
movie.
liked it. I liked how they ended him off, and I'd like to see a Spider-Man 4. But again, at that point, is it now just more of a Sony project?
Yeah, and I don't know. I really would like if it would just end their trilogies and fizzle out into them doing their own solo stuff. Like, I like the way that Spider-Man ended because it was like, okay, we have had a lot of crossover shit. It's been very grandiose.
Right.
Now it's over. That absurd grand crossover scale of things is over. It is time for just like street level, you're back to your roots.
I would love a nice grounded story, and maybe Daredevil could be that. But also, isn't there like a bunch of cameos that are going to be in it?
I don't even know about the Daredevil show, if I'm being honest. I've only seen like screenshots and the fact that I know it's happening. Bullseye's coming back, which he was a good villain. So.
I liked him in that.
Yeah. Gosh, I didn't even think I mentioned Loki because that came out with the season 2 that I watched.
Yeah, dude.
I watched like 2 episodes of that.
Is it good?
I fell off of it. They tried to reel you in with that actor from Everything Everywhere All at Once, the dad, and I don't know. It's the same syndrome as now almost all Marvel shows where it's like, cool, another one, and then you maybe watch an episode or 2. And the TVA stuff is interesting as it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not pulling me in that much anymore. I know that they're trying to make it a very relevant thing now with Deadpool.
Yeah.
Because now the trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine came out, which it did surprise me that they are doing the Loki TVA thing, but it makes sense that that's what you do to tie them in. Because do you know anything about Loki?
Yeah, I started watching the first season. I think I got to the introduction of Lady Loki, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'm done with this.
Yeah, because it's all right. I feel like I've been saying that way too much about all this, but
it's all right.
It's just all right. Like the movies for the most part are all just bad right now. I want to say that they're all just bad, but I don't know. They're just so
because they're just all right, and I think that's the worst thing that a movie or TV show could be.
Exactly. It's either bad or just all right now for everything that they make.
That doesn't invoke confidence.
No. Some people said the Deadpool trailer seemed underwhelming. I think it looks interesting.
It could be cool. I would rather them not try and connect it into the fucking MCU.
Well, Deadpool's the only character that could just randomly
Could
join in
do
without
it,
context.
and I get that, but you also have to ask the question: should you? Should you do that now in his third movie when you could wrap up his trilogy, do a soft reboot like you do for Spider-Man, and then introduce him into the MCU?
Oh, did you even see? Okay, I didn't watch the Marvels, but did you see one of the end credits? Because I saw what it was.
No.
So one of the Marvels, the Monica Rambeau one.
Yeah.
There's something with a multiverse. She falls into a different multiverse, and she's talking to Beast from the X-Men. And that's the big plot twist I guess end credit plot twist is that, oh no, she fell into an X-Men universe and now there's even more X-Men stuff going on, which I don't see why, because sure, we've already established there's a multiverse, so in the grand scheme of things, cool, she fell into literally one of the infinite X-Men universes, like who cares?
Does that mean she's gonna see X-23? Like what X-Men universe did she fall into? Because there's like 3.
I mean, it's not even a beast from any one of them. It was like a CGI beast.
That's also disappointing. I want them to bring back the original actor from Last Stand.
He was pretty good.
Dude,
he was pretty damn good.
He looked good in the role, and he had the presence to him.
Yeah, he pulled it off well.
Oh well. I would rather not see her go into the X-Men universe.
It's gonna be drag the X-Men into the MCU universe because I just thought it would have been more natural if they were gonna do that.
Honestly,
to just let people just start to notice mutants popping up. Like
or if anything, you could go the ultimate route, which Wolverine in that. So in the Ultimate Universe, what they tried doing is it's all about recreating the super soldier serum for Captain America.
Yeah.
So they tried doing it or in Canada or whatever, and they created the mutant gene or whatever, and essentially they created Wolverine.
The whole mutant gene is made from Captain America replication? Almost?
Yeah, so they were trying to pretty much recreate the super soldier serum, but I don't know how that works.
Is that the X gene, or is that just
like the mutant? I think it might just be like the mutant gene. They might have like they found it and unlocked it or something like that. I haven't fully immersed myself in the Ultimate X-Men.
See, even that's more interesting to me than just like, oh, we just pulled them in through the multiverse.
Exactly. At least it's a start. You know?
I think it's their lazy way of pulling in already established characters so they don't have to make.
I think that's so stupid though.
No one wants to make origin stories anymore. No one wants to make origins, so they will just pull in characters that we already know and love, and be like, it's Wolverine. You know Wolverine.
But
it's Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
All right, their problem with origin movies is they're doing it in a fucking formula. If you're going to do an origin movie, why don't you just, not do your formula?
But not doing your formula might mean you don't make money.
Sometimes you got to take risks.
Risks can mean less money.
Dude, all I'm seeing is a cat over your shoulder right now.
Oh, Christ. That scared the shit out of me.
Anyways.
My wallpaper behind me was my cat, and it was staring over my shoulder.
Oh man, but all right, is there really anything else we can really dive into? Like, I mean, I feel
how about a positivity prompt of something that we are looking forward to and something that we think could make us look forward to their movies, because we kind of just been shitting on this for I don't know what, an hour. This has just kind of been a cesspool, man, but it's something that it's relevant.
It needed to be said.
Yeah.
All right, someone needs to say it. But I guess positivity wise, that I might see Daredevil. All right, Daredevil, at least I liked Charlie Cox in the role, and I mean seeing him in Spider-Man was cool. So maybe I'll watch the stuff in She-Hulk, if I like that,
It's not worth watching She-Hulk. But look up just
look up the clips.
The clips or just the episode, because I think he's only in like an episode.
Okay, yeah, because I'd probably do that. Maybe it might get me more pumped to see him in the MCU and actually interact with some more characters. But also, that's like, I feel like that's always what I say when a new character gets introduced. Oh, it's gonna be so cool to see him interact with the other MCU characters. So
yeah,
but
that's not enough anymore. There has to still be something more than that.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, what other Deadpool kind of looks cool.
Kinda.
Is that positive?
This whole time you've been talking, I've been drawing an absolute blank in my head. I can't think of one. I can't. When I think of like what's a superhero thing you look forward to recently, it's just not Marvel.
It's not Marvel, and I don't know if it's DC either.
I like Image Comics, Image Comics, and some DC stuff. Marvel, I just kind of get into Venom now, which they're milking Venom for all they're worth, because modern Marvel comics are so bad. Like, you want to talk about the movies being bad? So many modern Marvel comics are getting worse and worse.
God.
The only one that's kind of good is Venom, and I feel like they caught on to that somewhere in the 2010s, where they're like, everything is doing all right or just kind of like dropping off in popularity, but Venom's really big, so let's fucking Venomverse the shit out of this.
Okay.
But that could be a topic for another time. But yeah, I mean, Venom, I'm into him. I don't know if he'll connect to the Marvel stuff, but who knows with the multiverse shit. They could swap licenses or whatever, and then after their big multiverse event, have certain characters in different universes.
Right. Yeah. I think, positive note, I think it would be cool to see maybe Marvel team up with, like, someone else. You know how, like, they kind of teamed up with Sony to doing Spider-Man? Maybe they could team up with someone else and be like, hey.
I mean, the only ones I could do that with would be Universal with Hulk. They do like a big.
I think
Hulk
that
thing.
that could be a cool thing.
World War Hulk, something
that could be
weird.
Cool, but I don't know if what She-Hulk has done to Mark Ruffalo. So
yeah, I have no fucking clue.
But yeah, if that's the best positive note we can leave off on, I think that's the best one. Yeah,
I think best positive for me was maybe some Sony stuff connects into MCU, and by that I just mean Venom. Fuck it, just fuck it. Don't do the Secret Wars. Just do Venomverse where everythone gets fucked up.
Yes, dude, that'd be so amazing.
Just go super R dark with it.
Like go like Predator in the comics, how they just started making Predator versus everyone.
Yeah, like Alien versus Judge Dredd versus Predator.
Or Batman versus the Predator or some shit like that.
The Suicide Squad versus the Banana Splits.
Some bullshit.
No, but just bring in like Null, God of the Symbiotes. Just have them start cutting people's heads off.
That could be
cool.
Symbiotes.
Sony wants to do it, they've said, but holy shit, that is far more ambitious than what they could do.
Right. Yeah, no. That's you'd have to put a lot of faith into that.
Yeah. But that's my positive. Hopefully Venom gets put in.
But yeah, I guess to end this off, what do you guys think of the MCU? Is it dying? We want to know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. Also, remember to leave a like on the video. Remember to hit that subscribe button, and remember to check out our other channels that are going to be in the description below. And
we've been changing.
Thumbnail artists.
We'll leave links in description.
Yes.
So.
But yeah, thank you for them. I don't know if they really watch this stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you for everything. The thumbnails always look awesome. Like the one last episode. Holy
shit.
Dude,
Dude, that looked amazing.
That was really good. Yeah.
But yeah, see you guys.
Yep. Deuces.